After a car accident, I couldn't reach Ethan, so I called the dealership service center. The name of the driver who hit me was Elizabeth. The name made me pause, because Ethan's online username has always been Liz. Ethan walked over to her, his expression anxious as he confirmed she was safe. He then calmly began to negotiate with the service center staff on her behalf. When he saw that I was the other driver, he froze for a moment before explaining. She just got back to the city and doesn't have any friends, so I'm helping her out. Ethan was not only helping her find an apartment, but also handling her divorce case. Later, I handed Ethan our divorce papers. When he took them, his hands were trembling slightly. Luna and Ethan returned home from the hospital. We were both silent for a long time, the earlier scene hanging between us. He was the first to speak, offering an explanation. She's a college classmate. She came back from the States today and isn't familiar with things here. So she called me. We were good friends in college. He never mentioned the true nature of their relationship with Elizabeth, but I knew. She was his first love. I didn't press for details, just gave a soft Even now, thinking back to that scene makes my heart go numb. When the car was hit, my mind went blank. When the airbag deployed, for a moment, I thought I was going to die. When I came to, I let out a long sigh of relief. The other driver got out of her car immediately, apologizing to me while making a phone call. She looked like she was on the verge of tears. I was terrified too, and the first person I thought of was my new husband, Ethan. I called him, but he didn't answer. Meanwhile, the strange woman beside me was crying into her phone. "Can you please come over right now?" The man on the other end had a calm, cool voice, and he soothed her steadily. "I'm on my way. Call the traffic police now. Then contact your insurance. Pull the car over to the side of the road. Turn on your hazard lights, and place the warning triangle 100 meters behind the car." The voice on the phone sounded vaguely familiar, but I didn't think much of it. I figured she was probably calling her boyfriend or husband. After hanging up, she apologized to me again. I shook my head and called my dealership and insurance manager. The traffic police arrived and documented the scene, taking photos of our vehicles. They asked for our names. "Luna," I said. Her expression changed suddenly. She looked at me with a mixture of curiosity and scrutiny. "Elizabeth," she said. I froze for a moment. I'm extremely sensitive to that name because Ethan loves lychees. Every one of his online usernames is related to Liz. What a coincidence. We looked at each other. The woman was beautiful, fashionably dressed, and exquisitely made up. She murmured, "My boyfriend will be here soon." I nodded. The man who arrived had a refined figure, tall and slender. His voice was tinged with anxiety. "Elizabeth, are you hurt?" The woman spun around for him, smiling. "Not at all." When the man turned, our eyes met. A strange emotion flickered in his eyes, and his brow furrowed slightly. The familiar figure and face made my head spin. Ethan quickly regained his composure, calmly and steadily handling the situation for Elizabeth, acting as her support, and I stood to the side, negotiating with him alongside the service center staff. In that moment, I suddenly felt like he was standing on the opposite side of me. He was, by law, my other half, but right now, he was calmly and unhurriedly negotiating with me on behalf of another woman. The police issued their accident report. The cars were towed to the dealership for repairs. Elizabeth and I exchanged contact information. The three of us stood there, each lost in our own thoughts. Ethan stood by Elizabeth's side, looking down at me. He simply said, "I'll take you to the hospital." Not long after we got home, one of Ethan's best friends called. He had it on speaker. "Damn, Ethan, Elizabeth is back." The moment he heard the name, Ethan immediately turned off the speaker, but he remained perfectly calm, not even glancing at me. I had already heard it. The friend continued, "I heard she's getting a divorce. Isn't this your chance?" Ethan gave a soft then answered, "That's enough. I'm hanging up if there's nothing else." The name Elizabeth began to enter my life. Later, I discovered online that she was a fairly well-known beauty blogger with a large following. Her username was just Liz. So, the rear-end collision on the highway had been filmed and documented by someone. Curious fans were asking, User A, Liz, were you in a car accident today? User B, I saw Liz on the airport expressway today, with her boyfriend. He was so calm, helping her handle everything and soothing her emotions. It was so sweet. Like a scene from a drama. User C. Her boyfriend is so handsome. They make a perfect couple. It's true. A man's greatest charm is his ability to handle problems. The photo included a picture of Ethan. The gossipy fans wouldn't let Elizabeth's rumored romance go. User D. Oh my god. That guy was my classmate in college. They were college sweethearts. Dated for a long time. I thought they broke up after graduation. But I guess they're still together. Reading these comments, I immediately clicked on Ethan's social media profile. Sure enough, his nickname was Liz. It had been his nickname since I first met him. And he had never changed it. Elizabeth posted a reply to her fans. I'm back in the country. I was in a rear-end collision today. But don't worry everyone. I'm fine. Ethan came out of the bathroom. I clutched my phone tightly. I was the one who fell for him first. I pursued him. And after a year of dating, he proposed. I believed a marriage could be built over time. He didn't seem to love me that much. But I thought we could slowly grow closer. I never expected his heart was still occupied by his first love. I turned off my phone and pretended to be asleep, eventually drifting off. The next day, I had to teach at the university. My car was still being repaired, making my commute difficult. I asked him if he could pick me up after work. Ethan thought for a moment, then refused. I have a meeting this afternoon, and I'll be working late. I'll have my assistant pick you up. I nodded. In the office, my colleagues were discussing the day's trending topics. Surprisingly, it was about Elizabeth. Do you guys know that beauty blogger? I saw a rumor that she's actually married. And her husband is the guy who helped her with her car accident the other day. Her husband is so handsome. They could totally be a couple blogger duo. I looked up at my gossiping colleagues. One of them asked me, Luna, don't you agree? I paused, unsure of what to say. The man they were talking about was my husband. I smiled and picked up my book. I have a class soon. I'd better go. After class, my department organized a dinner gathering. I messaged Ethan's assistant, telling him he didn't need to pick me up. I went to the restaurant with my colleagues. During dinner, I saw a familiar figure. He walked, tall and poised, into a private room. As I passed the room, I stopped. I was about to call his name, but then I heard the joking voices from inside. Ethan, now that Liz is back, she's getting a divorce. What about you? She's finally back. Aren't you going to try and win her back? Ethan's handsome profile was visible. He raised an eyebrow, a slight curve on his thin lips. She's not divorced yet. Don't talk nonsense. It's not good for her reputation. His friend continued to tease him. Don't miss your chance, or Liz might go back again. Hey, by the way, didn't you pick Liz up? Where is she? Ethan pointed towards the door. She went to the restroom. As he looked up, our eyes met through the crack in the door. I pulled my gaze away and walked back to my own private room. He frowned, a thoughtful expression on his face. I returned to my table. I saw on his friend's social media feed that they were throwing a welcome back party for Elizabeth that night. My eyelashes trembled. Ethan had lied to me. He said he had a meeting. I put away my phone and clinked glasses with my colleagues. After dinner, as we were leaving, Ethan's group also came out of their room. I witnessed Elizabeth stumble and fall into Ethan's arms. Their backs were to me. Ethan instinctively caught her waist, took off his jacket, and draped it over her exposed shoulders. He held her close and turned around. His friends came out as well. Our eyes met. His gaze was intense, his long, narrow eyes squinting slightly as he looked at me. His friends looked at me with shock and guilt. I pretended not to know them and walked past. Outside, a colleague said, "Isn't that the beauty blogger? Just Liz." Wow. So the man holding her must be her husband. He really is handsome. They make such a good-looking pair. She can be a beauty blogger and a couple blogger. I always thought beautiful women ended up with ugly men. Hearing their words, my emotions were a tangled mess. Ethan and I arrived home one after the other. I was about to speak, to demand an explanation. He spoke first. She was drunk. I just helped her. There was no trace of panic in his eyes. His expression was calm. I didn't know she was going to be there. I curved my lips into a smile. All right. I didn't expose his lie. I had heard it myself. He was the one who had picked her up. That night, a torrential downpour began. Ethan's phone rang urgently. He went to the balcony to answer it. The ringing had woken me up. Ethan, that man is here. I'm scared. Can you come over? He keeps knocking on my door. And it's thundering. Ethan moved quickly. He changed his clothes and was out the door in an instant. I called out to him. Ethan. His body stiffened. Was that Elizabeth? I asked. His features were sharp. His eyes cold and worried. Yes. She's home alone. It's not safe. I'm going out for a bit. She could call the police. I said. She could also call other friends. It doesn't have to be me. Luna. The weather is terrible tonight. She's afraid of thunder. I can't leave her alone. He turned and left. After he was gone, I turned on all the lights in the house. I didn't feel safe enough to sleep until the sky began to lighten. Ethan didn't come back. He only arrived home after I had woken up. His hair was soaked, dripping water. Our eyes met across the room. He was carrying something. He raised an eyebrow and asked, "Have you had breakfast?" I forced a smile. Not yet. I bought soy milk and fried dough sticks. Eat them while they're hot. He then went into the bathroom. We were newlyweds. But even when we were dating, we saw each other so infrequently that our relationship was lukewarm at best. Now, it was growing even colder. We had almost nothing to say to each other. A month passed. One day, during my lunch break at work, I felt nauseous. I thought it was an upset stomach and made a doctor's appointment. The doctor referred me to the gynecology department. The next day, I got the report. I was 8 weeks pregnant. Seeing the report, my feelings were complicated. This child had come at the wrong time. When Ethan came home from work, I wanted to share the news with him. But Elizabeth called again. She was crying on the other end. Ethan, I think I've offended someone. They're waiting outside my door. I don't know if they're men my ex-husband sent. Ethan looked at me, as if asking for my permission. I asked him, if I don't want you to go, will you still go? He told me, Luna, she just came back to the country. She's not familiar with anything here. All alone. I laughed. A bitter sound. His eyes were filled with urgency. He left. I debated whether to have an abortion. Before I could decide, the choice was made for me. On my way to work, on a deserted road, I was threatened by a strange man. He shoved me hard, and I fell to the ground, completely unprepared. He warned me with a vicious look. Tell your husband to stop meddling in other people's business. I scrambled to call the police. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. After the police took my statement in my room, they left. The doctor regretfully told me the baby was gone, then tried to comfort me by saying I could have another. When I learned about the miscarriage, I stared blankly for a moment. My eyes welled up, and then I felt a sense of relief. My relationship with Ethan was not suitable for a child. That evening, Ethan rushed in. His eyes were clear, filled with joy. Cole told me you're pregnant. I smiled at him. Did Cole tell you? The baby is gone. In that instant, the smile vanished from his face. His brow furrowed tightly as he looked at me. Why did you get rid of the baby? His eyes turned cold, and he turned away. My voice echoed in the quiet hospital room. Ethan, let's get a divorce. His tall figure froze, his back rigid. After a pause, he left without looking back. Ethan didn't come to pick me up on the day I was discharged. His assistant, Cole, came instead. But I no longer cared whether he came or not. Cole made an excuse for him. Mr. Jiang has a meeting today. He specifically asked me to pick you up. I let out a small, humorless laugh. Cole, do you even believe that yourself? Cole gave me an awkward smile. He drove me to my apartment building. But I didn't go home right away. I took a taxi to meet with a divorce lawyer. The lawyer asked for some basic information, like whether I had children or a prenuptial agreement. I answered each question. It's simpler without children, the lawyer said. We handle many cases where women can't bear to divorce because of the children. They suffer endlessly in the marriage. But the moment they hear the husband will get custody, they back out. The lawyer sighed. You are remarkably clear-headed. Getting a divorce after less than 3 months of marriage. But, are you sure? I nodded. I'm sure. All right. I'll draft an agreement for you and send you a digital copy when it's ready, the lawyer said. When I got home, I received the draft. After reading it, I printed out a copy. Ethan was on the phone when he came home. From the conversation, I gathered he was helping Elizabeth with her divorce case. He had hired the best lawyer for her. because of the nature of her marriage and her husband's refusal to divorce. It was a difficult case. Ethan was pulling a lot of strings for her. He probably didn't expect me to be home. He froze when he saw me and immediately hung up. His brow was furrowed. Weren't you supposed to be discharged this afternoon? So he had even gotten the time wrong. It seems Cole's lie was all for nothing. I looked at the phone in his hand, and he explained. She's been fighting with her husband about the divorce. Her husband has a history of domestic violence. That's why I'm involved. I smiled faintly, not exposing his lie. Elizabeth was a beauty blogger with a wide network and many fans. How could she not have friends in this country? Ethan and I never had a wedding ceremony. We just got our license. We didn't even announce our relationship on social media. At this point, I was just grateful we had only gotten a marriage certificate. A divorce after 3 months would have been an ugly end otherwise. Only our closest friends and family knew we were married. I learned from his college roommates that he and Elizabeth were classmates and had dated in college. Ethan had pursued her. During their relationship, he was always the one making the effort. A classmate revealed that Ethan had been completely besotted with her. I thought about how a proud, golden boy like Ethan could have had such a moment. In our relationship, I was the one who took the initiative. If I hadn't, we never would have gotten together. I even felt that if I missed sending him a message for a single day, he would completely forget I existed. I thought it was just his cool nature. But he could be proactive, could love someone passionately. That person just wasn't me. It was Elizabeth. I began to distance myself from Ethan, though we weren't divorced yet. We left early and came home late, missing each other, which was much the same as being divorced. I stopped messaging him. After arriving at the university, I received a message. Ethan, are you at the university? I'll pick you up for lunch. And then after work. I refused without hesitation. He hadn't agreed to the divorce at the hospital. He was busy with Elizabeth's case. We barely had time to see each other. The last time we were face-to-face was when I came home from the hospital and overheard his call. I had lunch with my colleagues in the university cafeteria. After lunch, Ethan called me. His deep voice came through the phone. Have you eaten? I'll pick you up after work. I had him on speaker and quickly fumbled to turn it off. But the colleague next to me was already looking at me with a knowing smile. I met her gossipy gaze and gave a vague reply. No need, thanks. Just leave the package at the door. His voice was puzzled. What? Yes, that's right. Just leave the package at the door, I said, and hung up. My colleague leaned in, grinning. Fess up, Professor. Are you dating someone? I explained with a straight face. No, it was just a delivery. I heard him, she said. He asked if you'd eaten and offered to pick you up. I laughed it off. You must have misheard. He asked when I get off work so he could deliver a package. I told him to just leave it. Your first class is about to start. Don't forget. I reminded her. She glanced at the time and hurried off. I almost forgot. I haven't even clocked in yet. I'm going. After she left, I let out a sigh of relief. After work, Ethan came anyway. I saw him at the main gate and took a side path. By the time he called me, I was already home. Oh, I said, I'm already home. When he returned, the panic in his eyes was unmistakable. I didn't see you, he said. I knew he had been waiting for me before I even finished work. He stood out in a crowd, tall and handsome, his posture perfect. I had seen him before I even left the campus. I raised an eyebrow, feigning ignorance. My face was impassive as I said, I didn't see you, and you didn't see me. It was probably too crowded, with all the students leaving at the same time. His thin lips curved into a smile. Probably. Your car isn't fixed yet. I'll take you to and from work tomorrow. His tone was firm, yet it seemed he knew I was lying. His smile made me feel guilty. You just had a miscarriage. Don't drink cold things. He took the cold milk from my hand. Hungry? He asked. I'll make you some noodles. I was about to refuse, but he had already started boiling the water. While he was cooking, I went to the study and got the divorce papers, but he looked flustered, his usual composure gone. When I took out the papers, his eyes shot up to meet mine. It was Elizabeth again. I looked at him expectantly. He would go, and I wouldn't stop him. I nodded and sat down to eat the noodles he had just made. His Adam's apple bobbed, his lips parted, but he said nothing. He was clearly hesitating. I took a bite of noodles, put down my chopsticks, and looked at him. Ethan, you should go. I have something to tell you when you get back. He was taken aback. He forced a smile and leaned down to hug me. Luna, wait for me. We'll have another child. He tried to kiss me, but I turned away. In that instant, he froze. Panic flashed in his eyes. The urgent ringing started again. Go, I said. We'll talk when you get back. He was helping Elizabeth with her divorce. He had shown up at her house in the middle of a rainstorm. Even the apartment she was living in now, he had helped her find. I thought to myself, even if he refused to divorce, I could sue with this evidence. It would just take longer. I didn't want to drag it out. I just wanted to end this marriage quickly. I slowly finished the bowl of noodles. I was truly hungry. After eating, I remembered my teaching contract with the university was expiring next month. I wasn't going to renew it. I was planning to leave the city. Ethan came back after I was already asleep. The next morning, he had made breakfast. He looked slightly ridiculous in an apron. For a moment, I wondered if he had been this attentive when he was dating Elizabeth. Last night, Elizabeth had messaged me. She wanted to meet. I ignored her. Ethan smiled, seeking praise. I made the soy milk myself. The dough sticks are from the store. And your favorite, a sandwich. He raised an eyebrow, his voice slightly hoarse with fatigue. Aren't you going to try it? I took a bite of a dough stick and finished the soy milk. About Elizabeth and me, he began. I cut him off. I handed him the divorce papers. Take a look. His brow furrowed in confusion as he took the papers. When he saw the words, his body went rigid. He shot his head up to look at me. I saw his long, slender fingers clutching the papers, his hand trembling slightly. His voice trembled too, his throat tight as he forced out the words. Luna, are you serious? I sneered and retorted. Do I look like I'm joking? I told him calmly. Read the agreement. If there are no problems, sign it, and we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I think the terms are fair. With that, I put down my dough stick, wiped my hands, and grabbed my bag to leave for work. He stood there, stunned for a long time. His eyes were dark, filled with a panic he couldn't hide. I'll drive you. He quickly took off the apron and grabbed my hand. I didn't move, just looked up at him. I'm going to be late for work. Let go. His voice was suppressed. He forced a stiff smile. Let me drive you, please. There was a hint of pleading in his voice. I was about to tell you. She's divorced. I won't have anything to do with her anymore. I nodded, a smile on my lips. I know. Now it's your turn to get divorced. My words choked him, and he was silent for a long moment. I pried his hand off mine. My car is fixed. I don't need a ride. That evening, a tall figure was waiting for me after work. He stood out in the crowd. People kept turning to look at him. I took the side path again. He didn't call me until it was dark. His voice was hoarse. Luna. I told him directly. I'm already home. Don't come to the university looking for me again. He rushed home immediately. When he saw me, his eyes instantly filled with tears. I couldn't find you. I thought you had left. I pushed him away. No, we're not divorced yet. How could I leave? Hearing this, a look of disappointment crossed his face. The next day, Ethan didn't come, but an unexpected guest did. Elizabeth. She appeared at the school gate, drawing a lot of attention. With her online following, she was easily recognizable. In fact, some people had already recognized her and were staring. Can we talk? I replied. Miss Elizabeth, we have nothing to talk about. If it's about the car, you can contact my service advisor or my insurance manager. Elizabeth sneered. You know what I'm talking about. It's not about the car. It's about the man. You don't want a scene in front of all these people, do you? Indeed. Some of my students were among the onlookers. I smiled. You should be more afraid of being recognized than I am. Her expression flickered. We sat in a quiet coffee shop. Ethan and I were each other's first love, she said. And he really doesn't love you. I assume the call you couldn't get through that day was to him. And yet, he came to me. When I learned your name that day, I knew you were his wife. I deliberately said I was waiting for my boyfriend. The truth is, we broke up a long time ago. I came back to the country to get a divorce. I sipped my coffee, listening to her story. She continued. I was young and foolish back then. I picked a fight with him, broke up, and married someone else on a whim. You know, The well-behaved man you have now is trained by another woman. I was with him for 4 years. I taught him for 4 years how to treat a woman right. I'm not about to hand him over. I planted the tree. You're not going to be the one to enjoy the shade. That would be too unfair to me. I had never met someone so shameless. Miss Elizabeth. I have no problem divorcing him. You should be trying to convince him to divorce me. Elizabeth's expression changed slightly. She took out her phone and opened her chat with Ethan. Look, even his username is my name. You know, my name is Elizabeth, she said, deliberately emphasizing the Liz. Of course. I knew. When she refreshed the screen, Ethan's username instantly changed from Liz to a single period. I watched as the woman's face turned beet red. She never expected him to change it. I didn't either. But it was rather amusing. She put her phone away, still defiant. So, is the man I trained to your liking? A smile played on my lips. Miss Elizabeth. I don't take in trash like that. If you're a trash can, you should keep an eye on your own garbage. Her gaze shot to something behind me. Ethan called my name, his voice urgent. It was hoarse and trembling. Luna. He pulled me into an embrace without another word. Tighter and tighter. A hot tear fell on my shoulder. He buried his face in my shoulder. His voice muffled and choked with sobs. I thought something had happened to you. I went to your university to find you. And there was a car accident nearby. Someone said a female teacher was involved. I thought it was you. Then I ran into your colleague. And she told me you were here. I was still processing. I pulled his arms away. He looked at Elizabeth, his expression turning cold. We ended things 3 years ago. Do not bother my wife again. He pulled me away quickly and put me in the passenger seat. On the way, I said, Elizabeth told me about your past today. He looked at me, his words clear and firm. Luna, don't believe her. We broke up 3 years ago. When we got back to the apartment, he held my hand and refused to let go. Let's talk, I said. Let go of my hand first. We sat facing each other. I handed him the divorce papers again. When he tried to tear them up, I stopped him. It's useless. Our relationship has reached its end. You can tear up the papers, but I don't love you anymore. And I can always print more. He stopped. His features were sharp, his profile strong. When he pressed his lips together, he looked aloof and noble. I once loved his looks, his personality. Now, I despised everything about him. I've already signed the papers. You are the party at fault. If I take the photos of you and her to court, I can get this divorce. You don't want things to get that ugly, do you? He just looked at me, not speaking. Tears welled up in his eyes, but he refused to let them fall. The day we collided, I called you, but you didn't answer. She called you too. You were so calm and composed, defending her interests, negotiating with me. I was in a daze. I smiled. I was thinking, whose husband are you? Anyway, I can explain, Ethan said frantically. I answered her call first. That's why I missed yours. I nodded. Remember your lie. I asked you to pick me up, and you said you had a meeting. But I saw you and her at the restaurant during my department dinner. I heard your conversation with your friends. You were the one who picked her up. Your friend even posted on social media that it was a welcome-back party for her. Ethan's Adam's apple bobbed. His voice was hoarse. I did have a meeting that day. They told me they had something to discuss and would tell me when I got there. I canceled the meeting. Only then did I find out the person they wanted me to pick up was Elizabeth. His explanations were so plausible. Ethan. We looked at each other. I was calm. His eyes were dark. All your usernames are still related to her. You helped her again and again after she got into trouble. Ethan forced a bitter smile, helping her with the divorce. When we broke up, she immediately married someone else. I felt partly responsible. She started a bad marriage out of spite. Later, I heard her husband was abusive, that her life was miserable. That's why I helped her. I looked him in the eye and asked, can you honestly say that when you saw her again, you felt nothing for her? He fell silent. You don't love her now. It's because your conscience kicked in. You realized you love me, and you're panicking because I'm leaving. He raised a hand to wipe away a tear. Ethan, one heart cannot love 2 people. I stood up and looked down at him. Do you know how the baby was lost? I didn't have an abortion. It was her ex-husband who pushed me, causing the miscarriage. He told me to tell you to stop meddling in his business. Ethan shot up and grabbed my arm. He looked at me, His eyes filled with both pain and regret. He spoke, his voice strained. Fine. I'll sign the divorce papers. His tone was firm. And I won't let him get away with this. As he signed, I said, I don't regret losing that child at all. Even without her ex-husband, I would have gotten rid of it. At my words, Ethan's hand trembled. He looked up at me. His eyes were red. Ethan had his people gather evidence on Elizabeth's ex-husband and had him sentenced to 3 years in prison. The ex-husband's family begged Ethan to let him go. Ethan's expression was cold. Let your son go. Who will let my unborn child go? Later, we successfully divorced. Sitting in the Civil Affairs Bureau, the staff confirmed with me multiple times, and each time I insisted on the divorce. Our relationship has broken down. We can't be together anymore. He said nothing. His gaze lowered, his eyelashes trembling. After leaving the bureau, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Once the mandatory cooling-off period was over, we would be completely separated. Our relationship ended this way. Back at work, a colleague told me, Luna, you're married, and your husband is so handsome. The other day when he came to pick you up, there was that car accident involving another teacher. He thought it was you. He was frantically pushing through the crowd. Later, I asked him, and it turned out he was looking for you. She looked at me with a knowing smile. When are you inviting us to the wedding banquet? I gave an awkward laugh. I just got divorced yesterday. My colleague was stunned, her face full of apology. I'm so sorry. Don't be sad. I raised an eyebrow, my tone light. I'm not sad. Divorcing him was a liberation. After class, my colleague looked at me hesitantly. Professor, I feel like your husband looks a lot like that beauty blogger's husband. I sighed. That's why we got divorced. My colleague, ever the champion of justice, was more angry and upset than I was. What a scumbag, she roared. The next day, Elizabeth lost hundreds of thousands of followers. She was exposed for being a homewrecker. The affair between a beauty influencer and a certain CEO, the recently popular beauty influencer, famous for her handsome husband, is actually a third party in a marriage. She and a certain CEO were college sweethearts. After breaking up, they both married other people. After returning to the country, she rekindled her romance with her first love. Now, the CEO and his wife are divorced. And she is also divorced. The person the influencer rear-ended was the CEO's wife. User A. I feel so bad for the wife. She was completely innocent. I heard they had only been married for 3 months. User B. OMG. This is so dramatic. I used to ship them. I'm heartbroken. Because of the scandal, Elizabeth's image was ruined, and she had to pay a hefty sum in damages. Ethan's company also faced problems. After successfully divorcing Ethan, I received a large sum of money and a property in the capital. I sold the house. He bought it back. I moved to Jiangzhou. Here, I started a new life. I didn't go back to teaching. Instead, I joined a new company. 3 years later, I was promoted to design director. My promotion came with a raise. I saw Ethan again. It was at a product launch, a glamorous event with clinking glasses and endless toasts. He walked up to me. The dim light played on his face, outlining his sharp features. His eyes were long and narrow, his lips a deep red, with a faint smile. Long time no see. I raised my glass. Long time no see. We hadn't seen each other in years. There would be no reconciliation. What was broken was broken. I turned to leave, but he blocked my path. His eyes welled up. He gave a self-deprecating laugh. Director, you won't even speak to me. I smiled. Mr. Jiang, what is there for us to talk about? At the event, I received many offers from other companies. I turned them all down. Many were from large firms in the capital. I only wanted to stay in Jiangzhou. This was a new beginning, a place filled with good memories. Here, I was reborn, and I started a career I loved. Step by step, I worked my way up to where I am today. I walked past Ethan. He tried to say something, reaching out to grab me, but I walked too fast. I had no desire to hear his excuses. His hand hung awkwardly in the air. Here, I won my first design award. As I accepted it, I saw a brilliant future ahead of me. Look, the road ahead is so bright.